I am too many moths, and I am wasting my life. Video games have always been a big part of my life. I mean, I've been playing them for as long as I can remember. I was never the kind of kid who could entertain themselves, and so I relied heavily on video games to do it for me. And with good reason too. They're relaxing, they help pass the time, they're
fun.
And so I played video games all throughout my childhood. From the Sega Mega Drive to the PS1 to the PS2,
the Nintendo Wii, and of course,
the PC. And with all these systems to hand, I never really ran short of games to play. But then suddenly I'm 22 years old, living with my parents, unemployed with no achievable career prospects, and I wonder, where did it all go so wrong? There came a point when I realised, maybe I spend a bit too much time playing video games. I thought, why don't I have any idea what I want to do with my life? And then I realised, no, that's completely wrong. I do have an idea of what I want to do. I've got lots of ideas. I'd love to get really good at guitar. I want to be up there with people like Steve Vai and Derek Johnson. I'd love to be really good at art, something a lot of my family has been into. I'd love to make my own game. So, why have I not done any of these things? It's because they're hard. They take time to get good at. Steve Vai is practicing 10 hours a day to get that good. I try, but I get tired and mentally fatigued, and then I play a video game because it's low effort and easy and relaxing, and then I don't stop. And then I start to hate myself because I want to do all of these things, but I've been playing Minecraft for 10 hours, and instead of stopping and doing something productive, I just carry on playing Minecraft and feeling sorry for myself. And you might think this makes absolutely no sense, and you'd be right. It doesn't. However, at some point through all the self-loathing and time wasting, I decide that's it. No more games. From this point on, I'm gonna be productive. And so that's what I do. But gradually, over time, I get this feeling deep down. An uncomfortable feeling of frustration, a sense of fatigue, a notion of wanting to stop whatever stressful activity you're doing. But most of all, a strong, irrepressible desire to pwn noobs. And suddenly I crack and I shout, what did I want to give up video games for? I like video games. Video games are fun. They're relaxing, they make me happy. And alas, I once again return to playing, and the cycle continues. In mid-2012, I discovered a game called Team Fortress 2, a multiplayer online first-person shooter, and I fell in love. Something about it just clicked with me, and I just couldn't stop playing. It was beautiful. I'd never felt this way about a game before. I was terrible at it, but that didn't matter because I was having fun. And whenever I did something right, I felt a feeling of accomplishment. Team Fortress 2 quickly became my favourite game of all time, with me playing it at every available opportunity. And as with any skill, the more I played, the better at the game I became. But over time, I came to realise this may be more a curse than a blessing. I remember I was doing nothing one afternoon, and I decided it was time to once again open my favourite video game and have a quick round or two of Payload, one of the many game modes in Team Fortress 2, and one that I had of course played many times before. But this time was different. For over time, I found myself getting more and more frustrated with it. Try as I might, I couldn't get any kills, and they just kept dying over and over. But if you think about it, this was no different to my first time playing the game. My first time playing the game, I only got one kill, but I still loved it. So what changed? My expectations changed. For when I first played Team Fortress 2, or TF2 for short, I had no expectations. I knew I was going to suck. I didn't expect to do well. So when I actually did do well, it felt all the more enjoyable. But now, I'm a lot better at the game. I've had games where I've been the best. I've had games where I've been top of the scoreboard, beating everybody. So when in this one game, where everyone else was better than me and I suddenly found myself not able to do this, I couldn't cope. I got angrier and angrier till eventually I was shouting at the screen in frustration. Let's just take a step back for a minute because we need to establish something. And that is, what is the purpose of a game?
A game is
a form of activity with a set of rules. You can play a game for entertainment. Like I said before, they're relaxing, enjoyable, and the key word here is fun. But going back to my game of TF2, I wasn't having fun, and normally when you're not having fun, you stop what you're doing and you go do something else, right? So why am I playing? Because I'd had fun with the game before. I was fighting a battle with the hope that I would get that feeling again, chasing a high that I vaguely remembered having one time, but it wasn't coming, and yet I continued to play. In theory, it makes no sense, but in practice, it's something we see a lot. Video game addiction is a term that's had a resurgence of popularity in recent years, especially with the immense presence of certain battle royale games. Parents are suddenly noticing their kids spending all of their time playing video games, often with detrimental effects to their health and well-being, with examples being things like wetting themselves because they refuse to get up to use the bathroom, or refusing to eat also because they refuse to leave the comfort of their chairs. In my case, I noticed video games were having a highly negative impact on my mood, yet I continue to play them to this day. A game I've recently gotten into is Defense of the Ancients 2! Or just Dota, for short. The aim of the game is to work together as a team of 5 people to destroy the base of the enemy team, which also consists of 5 people. Now, gamers, as they are often referred to, are generally not the nicest of people. This, of course, doesn't apply to all of them, or I guess us, but generally, we're very reclusive, we don't have many friends, and naturally, our social skills aren't the best. Now, if we consider the game Dota, you need to work together to accomplish, well, anything. More often than not, you cannot win if one person isn't playing the game properly, and this can be moderately annoying to say the least. Imagine doing everything in your power to win, but despite what you do, there's just one person who isn't doing what they're supposed to. Now, if we combine gamers with limited social skills and a very competitive game, the results can get ugly. You can do the slightest thing wrong, and suddenly you're being bombarded with a wave of abuse from random people around the world.
That dumb Dazzle retard, man. What is that pick? You're pure man. You had Shallow Grave and everything. You're pure.
To put it mildly, it's slightly soul-crushing, but even so, I can empathize with my tormentors. I've been in their position. I mean, just look at them. How can they be so stupid? Are they goddamn retarded? Why are they over there? We need to fight! Stop jungling! All in all, I leave the game feeling terrible, and I wonder, why do I put myself through this? But I know why. Despite the awful matches, Dota can be a very fun and interesting game. And when you get the right team, it's great. And I keep going back to it hoping that my team won't be terrible. Once again chasing the high of winning and having a truly great game. But more often than not, that's not the case. And I leave hating myself, hating the game, and hating random people that I don't even know and most likely don't even speak my language. Why do I keep going? We've spent all this time talking about how we want to stop, but we never stop to ask, should we stop? It's impossible for us to deny that, as humans, we enjoy playing. In fact, we have evolved to enjoy it. Even if we didn't have video games, we'd still play. It's not something that's taught to us, we do it on an instinctual level. We just want to have fun. But why? Why would we want that? It doesn't help us get food, it doesn't help us survive the winter, it doesn't help us survive a deadly encounter. does it? Here we have a timeline of human evolution. Way back here we of course have dinosaurs. Then at some point they became monkeys or something, but I wouldn't expect you to understand. It's very complicated science. Then at the opposite end of the line we have us. Human beings. The question is, at what point did play become a thing? Well, we don't know, but we do know that play has been observed in a huge variety of different animals. From monkeys to dogs to dinosaurs, well, maybe not that last one, but the animals we're most interested in are rats. In 2010, researchers Pellis and Pellis observed the effects of play on young rats. They kept some of these young rats with adult rats, and the rest with other rats in their age group. The adult rats weren't as active as the young rats, essentially starving the younger ones of play. Meanwhile, the rats kept with their age group played a lot more. The Pellis family noted that the brains of these rats were significantly more developed than those that didn't play as much. They went on to hypothesize that play allowed the rats to act out social situations in a safe environment and effectively practice for encounters that they would have in the real world. Well, I for one can vouch for this assessment. I've certainly encountered many social situations while playing that I have yet to encounter in real life, but when it finally happens, I know I'll be prepared. So, games are good for you. I sound like I'm in denial. Give me alcohol! I need it! It's good for my body! But while alcohol has been proven to have a detrimental effect on the body, gaming hasn't. As much. It's complicated. We all know the phrase, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy, and there is some truth to it. Doing nothing but work is a recipe for disaster, so don't be ashamed to play games. But in moderation. Don't destroy your life because of an addiction. Study, socialize, and try not to spend the entire day in your parents' basement. Play is good for you psychologically, but like painkillers, it can very quickly get out of hand. Stay safe, kids, and don't do too many drugs. Goodbye.
This meme will never die because are in the beam.